in
Yes.
yeah, the people in the app get a little notification to say if they subscribe to me that I've gone live, but also the people that subscribe to you. So if they happen to be on the app at this time, then they'll just get to know, and then they'll start coming in below, and we'll see their names popping up. But nobody's here yet because it's just connecting. Oh, good. Okay, so yeah, it says one person's on. So yeah, people will just come in and filter in. A couple of people are on. Oh, hi everyone. Oh, hi guys. You always think no one's going to come on, and then here they are. So that's beautiful. So hi everyone. I am Claire Venus. If we've not met before, I am a Substack expert, an engagement consultant and mentor, and I absolutely love Substack. I'm so excited today because my book is topping the Amazon charts. So I wrote this book, How to Build a World-Class Substack, with a co-author, Russell Noelty, and go and check out his Substack as well. And we are topping the Amazon charts, which is wild to me. I don't know how any of it's worked. I've done 2 social media posts, and I feel like I'm meant to be doing more. Like this is the big launch week, but something's going on and it's working. So that's awesome. How are you today, Tanya? That's just me just rambling and being like, I'm so excited about life.
No, but it's good high energy, and I think that's what we need. When I was waiting for you to go live, I just seen your post about this news, and I think it's fantastic. And you do need to take these moments to just
Yeah.
sit in the joy of it all, because
Yes.
I mean we've been talking behind the scenes a lot, haven't we, about the roller coaster ride of, when you do get some high moments in your career, or whether you're writing a book,
Mm.
running a retreat. It's quite hard when you're this solopreneur to actually go, God, I did that. I
Yeah.
really, really. And how do you lean into it? How do you take those feelings? Because sometimes it can be quite a dive of anticlimax, isn't it?
Mhm.
So I
Yeah.
think, I think relish in it. Just, because people feed off this, and I've always said you've got this infectious personality,
Oh.
and rightly so. So yeah, it's lovely to be in your company, and this is my first
Oh.
time of doing a Substack live, because I was like, right, I'm ready. Instagram, here we go, and you're like, no.
We're going on Substack. Yeah. No, I know that's it. And it is new to us, but I think we're just leaning in because we're working together behind the scenes because we've got a retreat coming up. We've also podcasted together. So if anybody wants to hear more about Tanya's background and the questions that I was kind of pushing her on in terms of how she set up her Substack and how things are working, there's a great podcast episode that you guys can listen to. But yeah, we wanted to come on, share a little bit more about the retreat, and for you to just talk about what it means to retreat. I think this time of year, lots of us are getting ready for maybe, social media detox. We're turning our phones off. We're like reorganizing our energy for the holidays. And I think it's a really nice thing to think about. Oftentimes, we can be quite scared of coming to a retreat space because we're so used to all the inputs of social media, a busy work life, everything kind of running as it should be, but it's like we don't know what to do in those pause moments. And I'm a massive advocate of the pause moments because I think this is when the ideas start to drop in. This is when the creativity sets on fire. And then we can quite often, after retreating, have enough ideas, energy, strategy to be running with months worth of content. I'll say content because I think people connect to that and it makes sense. But I've never been in that position where I don't know what to write. Like I just haven't because I have retreat built into my working strategy and I'm just so passionate about it. And I know you're the same, Tanya. So it'd be lovely to talk about more of your work in the world and why you became so passionate about writers' retreats. Where's it all come from?
Well, thank you. Great question. And we're so aligned. I love what you're doing, and it's so nice that we're able to launch a in-person retreat next May. But going back to where it all started, I think. Well, I've been in the events and retreats industry for 10 years, and before that, I was in the media and radio, newspapers, and magazines. But when the pandemic hit, I was really struggling to, go online and make what I was doing, that it's very it's like the hygge feeling,
Mhm,
candlelights and
mhm,
being around like-minded women and having that conversation, and actually not conforming to anything. It's almost like just stop worrying about the to-do list, the
mhm,
alarm, wake up call. It's all about going slower and being at
mhm,
peace. And if all that you do is leaning into daydreaming, trying to be bored, all those beautiful things that we don't really give ourselves the time to, was really important to me when it had to all go digital, and I had to really rethink and pivot the business, and also help my audience learn how to retreat within their own home.
I love that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because, it's one thing to be able to afford it financially, to afford the time. A lot of us are busy mothers and running jobs and businesses that you can't get away even for one full day or a night. So a lot of people would ask, well, I just want to be able to retreat at home. How do you do it? And I
Mm,
think this is why I'm so passionate about, I'm journaling here now, right now. It's important that even in the most busiest of homes, we can center ourselves and we can make a corner cozy to actually just give ourselves the space to think more clearly, to have some
mhm,
clarity.
mhm,
And that can be done with just sitting down with a candle.
mhm,
And I do mention hygge because when I started my retreats business in 2016, it was all around the hygge essence. And that is stems from Scandi countries when it's really cold and dark, that, just having comfort is
mm.
really, sorry, I'm just watching my dogs obviously wanting to go out into the cold, and I'm just ignoring them. But
Oh,
yeah,
well,
it's
it's,
really important
we're,
that if
we're chilled. We've come to you. So if you need to let the dogs out, I can fill. That's fine. Like, we're just keeping it real on
it's all
Substack
right.
Live. It's all good.
It's all
But
right.
yeah, I love what you say. And I think for me, there's something in ritual with the seasons. So I bought myself some coloured fairy lights. They're like purple, orange, and green, I want to say, but like quite muted. My husband finds them too bright, but in the morning time, like that's my signal to kind of turn on creativity for a little bit of time before the whole house wakes up. So I'll put these lights on, make my coffee, and I'm not even putting the Christmas tree lights on. I'm like, I'm just gonna sit here, like, and I'm just gonna be in this. And in the summer it's slightly different. I love to go outside and be with the sunrise early and stuff. We get the sunrise here because we're on the northeast coast and it's beautiful, like over the sea. It's gorgeous. And sometimes just immersing ourselves in environment, kind of like you say, a point of focus could just be a candle or could be a little ritual that we can do, the journal, the pen, the lights, whatever it is, but just to kind of anchor in and be like, okay, like, what am I being called to do? Is it to journal? Is it to free write? Is it to organize things in my brain a little bit so I feel a bit more ready for when the rest of the house gets up? And I love all of that. And I love that we actually have been called to find those places in our
Mhm.
homes. I think there's been a lot more of that, hasn't there, since the pandemic? And then that quest to find other spaces, more intimate spaces. I don't know whether you found this, but I definitely have. There was a whole load of like 300 people on a Zoom call, and all that stuff's amazing and wonderful. And it's like, we're global and this is cool. But then when we get these intimate spaces where we can really share what's on our heart and feel safe, that's really beautiful. And that for me, I think, is what attracted me to partnering with you to do an ease retreat, because I'd seen the way that you wrote about them. I could almost like tangibly feel when you came out of a retreat how special it had been, like, because I've been in events as well. So like I've got that sense, that embodied sense anyway. But the way that you articulate how a retreat has been, and then people who've been on those retreats and what they found, is just really beautiful. And it definitely kind of transmutes through Substack, I find anyway. I love what you write.
Thank you. No, but it's, I know there's some girls now in the audience watching our live that have been on an ease retreat, and
Ah,
it's really hard actually to put into words the
yes.
magic that happens. And
Mm,
it's cliche because it's, people come up with description of, that experience with being around 15 other women, and the expert was profound. It was actually life changing for me, because a lot of these ladies, they may have not left their town, their family for
mm,
years. It's a real big leap of faith for them, because effectively what's happening, women are coming together as strangers. The courage that they take to go, I don't know if I'm going to fit in. Am
mm,
I, because a lot of them are writing or journaling or creative retreats. They're almost like judging themselves. Am I going to fit in? Am I worthy? Am I capable? And then when they sit around the table and it's like, God, you think like that as well. Oh my God. And that it's
mm,
really what's happening, like what's on Substack. Women are finding their tribe, that,
mm,
because sometimes within our locality, be lucky if you find another one or two women that actually get how, word nerdy. That's one of my things at the moment, because
mm,
we're doing the bibliotherapist podcast, is that is there another word nerd in your gang locally? And, there's a lot of people that be like, oh, here she goes again, talking about books, talking about writing. But when you come up
Mm,
to these retreats, and it's not always, it's not just my retreat, there's loads of other retreats in the country, but it's just so it's cathartic. You can
mhm.
just sit there and talk and share your story and go, gosh, it is quite magical. And there is, we could do a series of them, but what happens on the day stays within that group. They sometimes want to set up a WhatsApp group. They become accountability buddies for each other.
Mhm.
So if they've got a project and they want to write a book, or you know join a charity or whatever it is, the women are interested in where that story goes. So we've
Yeah.
met in May, and then in 6 months' time, it's like, what are you up to now? How's it going? And
Mm.
because I don't know, where people are at different paths in their life, just to have someone that actually gets it and will be their cheerleader, because basically that's what we need.
It's the through line, isn't it? It's that
Mm.
accountability piece that after we've experienced something profound and we've given ourselves that permission to come, take the time out, spend the money for the ticket, immerse ourselves in that part of ourselves and wholly that part of ourselves. And then what happens after that? We don't want to just drop it. We want to kind of keep that kindle, don't we? And see what grows from that. And definitely, with the experiences that I've had meeting Substack writers in real life. So there's been a lot of that for me because I've championed the platform. So there's a lot of Northeast writers here. So, we get to talk about it and we get to have co-working and all that gorgeous stuff. And then from that, there have been some friendships kindled, which has been really lovely, either part of Substack writers meetups, like official ones, or just it's naturally happened because we've been at the same book festival or something like that. So it kind of brings it back to that anchored place of Substack as a home and Substack as a place for the words. And I know you'll have lots of different people who are maybe just kindling and getting started on Substack, or interested in life writing, or interested in memoir writing, because you do host with quite a few memoirists, don't you? But I think just being able to be in the room with people and understand what their writing habits are, like how they come to the page, how they structure a book, understanding that process gives people that into understanding that it's actually can be a really long process to write a book, and sitting with something that you love the subject matter of is important. And there's a whole load of different things that can happen in both traditionally published worlds or in self-publishing, like I've done with a Substack book. So I think all in all, like if people are interested in spending time with their writing at any stage of the journey, I feel like your retreats are great for that. Like that's just a beautiful thing, whether it's a creativity retreat with Emma Gannon, or if Clover Stroud's back, or you want to come to my Substack retreat. Like I'm so excited about it. I think because of the point in the year it is as well. So I get to travel. So I don't live near the retreat space. And so I'll get to travel. I'll get to be on a train for a sizable amount of hours, and have that experience. I'll get to spend time with you, and then I'll get to host with whoever wants to come. And my vision for it is that we vision out the next 6 months of our Substack experience, like what we want for that from that platform. So whether that's about connection, collaboration, about gentle goals that we're working on within our own publication and things that we want to achieve, because I feel I can hold space for that, and in the kind of innate creativity and the ritual that we need to be able to do the work. I think Dave's just bring me a cup of tea, which is super kind. Just live on Substack, babe. Hang on. Thank you. You can come on, you can say hello. He's saying no. He's not coming on.
Mine's a
Very
black
kind
coffee.
though. Yeah, and then the second half of the day when we were discussing it, I felt like it would be really good to just open our laptops and do the nuts and bolts, the behind the scenes, the giant settings page, and work out what people want to present. I've done a lot of work this year around what we present, because Substack gives us so many cool features. So when I did my course, Your Beautiful Substack Magazine, it was so nice to work with people and be like, what do you want your magazine to look like, guys? Like, let's try and do it for you. Like, I can help you. Is it a section? Is it a tag? Do you want a contents page? Do you want an editor's letter? Like, what do you want all that to look like? So I think sometimes people get stuck in that kind of churning stuff out, and then a new reader comes and they're like, well, wow, this is all great, but all the stuff gets buried. So I'm a big fan of making sure it's really accessible and people can bring in the archive content through tags, through sections, through holding the reader through a journey, and hopefully allowing them to kind of feel like they can take permission to go deep into the archives. And it was seen as like a bit like odd to like do a deep dive on someone's Instagram. Probably still is. Like I'm not cool enough to know, but it was like, no, you don't do that. You can't be seen to be doing like a deep like. And I'm like, in Substack, like we're all about that. Like go into the archive and look at all of the good stuff. So yeah, so that's my idea for the afternoon. And I think those two building blocks, like that's enough. And then once we know the participants and who's coming, I'd love to get to know them a bit more and ask them what they want.
Well, yeah. I mean, that's the only thing. With these day retreats, they do zoom by very quickly. So,
Mm.
once we've arrived and done our meet and greet and got to know everyone, we've got the 2.5 hours in the morning with breaks. We have a lovely lunch. It's in a beautiful
Tell me about
setting,
the
and it's
lunch. What's for lunch?
I know,
These are the sort of details that I
I
like.
know.
But you have got like a wonderful caterer, haven't you, that you
Oh, she
mentioned? That's
is
like epic.
amazing. She's got
Mm.
her own little um like deli gift shop
Oh,
cafe, and it's
cute.
it's got that sort of Christmas festive feel any time of year. It's got bunting up.
Super
It's just
cozy.
really well curated, and the moment you get
Mhm.
in there, it's like my eyes are drawn to all the stationery. You could spend a
Ah,
fortune. It's tiny, but she does outside catering, and I've been with her a couple of years now, and it's thanks to Clover Stroud, because we were doing them in her house, and Joe was the caterer. And I just kept working with her, because, and it's the same with the venue host. One of my USPs is that the retreats are always hosted in private residences, so
mhm.
we get that home from home feel.
Love that. Yeah.
And this is, it's an exquisite converted barn with a swimming pool. We won't be getting on our cozies because there's so much that we're doing on the retreat, but if the
Mm.
weather's nice, we can have our lunch al fresco, so we can sit around the pool. It's got a secret garden, and it's, again, it's just one of the things that it it gives each guest that moment to just be. It's, I think,
Mm.
when we look at the term human being, well, we seem to be human doings. We're constantly on the move, and I think it's just, as much as we're going there to learn about Substack and be in your presence, it's also giving each one of us time to reflect, to pause, and find that creativity in a beautiful place. So
Yeah.
yes, the lunch is always so delicious. A lot of the guests ask, "Can I have that recipe, please?" So I,
Oh, sounds
you
so
know, I,
nourishing. Everything
yeah.
you say, it just sounds so nourishing. And I know, like from retreats I've done in the past, like mine have been more like well-being retreats. I've hosted those, and then I've done a couple of creativity retreats here on the Northumberland coast. And I think when you're setting that space up, when you're space holding for people to arrive and just feel welcome and feel nourished, it sounds like you're just amazing at that. And to be honest, I've talked about this before, but I burnt out in events. Like I'd had enough. So it's really interesting because I know you and I feel like there's that connection there. When you emailed me about it, and I said to my husband, he's like, "You're not going to do an event, are you?" And I was like, "No, I am. Like, I'm really looking forward to it because Tanya's got it. Like, it's not like I'll have to hold anything in terms of the event structure. Like, I can just come along, be welcoming, and be like the host in that way." And I think I just had to hold so many logistics for so long, for so many different partners with so many different personalities. There's just something that just it does leave your nervous system just a little bit like when I just like I'm frozen, I can't do it again. So there's you and there's Susie over at Annick Story Fest. I've worked for Susie for the last 2 years and I'm doing a third year, and it's like an immediate yes. It's just like a whole body yes, but I'm still working out if I can do events, like if I can be
Mhm.
part of events systems. And the emails can fly in and it can be like, this needs doing now within the next 2 hours. And you're like, does it really? And I'm trying to just make sure that all of my spaces are calm spaces where it's like, we've got time, it's all good. You can do the hard work however you want to do it, but just know that you've got time to achieve whatever it is you want to achieve. And I think, yeah, the pressure of events in the past just got a bit too much. I just did them for too long, I think. I don't know whether
Mhm.
you can resonate with any of that, Tanya, and I know you've set things up differently for yourself, but I'd just be curious to know.
Oh, honestly, it's like anything. When you start your own business, there's just you, and you're wearing many hats, and you
Mhm.
will drop a ball, and I've dropped many, and um, I think I felt every emotion. But it's just everything that you do and you try, you will learn from it. And I know now,
Mm.
the parameters, the boundaries have to be in place. I need support,
Yeah.
and I reach out for it. And I've got a lovely lady who we met on Substack. She's Welsh. She lives in London, Lauren. So
And
she's
I met
become,
Lauren this year as well,
yeah.
which I love.
I
Yeah.
mean,
Mhm.
and this is the beauty of Substack. You
Mhm.
really do find those that are interested in what you're doing. And I think if you're, aligned, then why wouldn't you work together? So she's
Mhm.
become my virtual assistant, but she also helps me on the bigger retreats. But with the day retreat, I mean, that you're the expert on the subject matter. And
Mm.
then I'm making sure that everything from the moment people arrive to the moment they leave, they're super cared for. And
Mhm.
I think it takes a certain individual to be a host, that you are there, you're seen, but you're not a pest. Because
Mhm.
you can sometimes go to a restaurant and some of these waitresses are just too overkill. Are you sure you're okay?
Yeah.
Is the
Yeah.
night? You've just
And
got to
you've got a
have a
mouthful of food
presence.
as well, and you're
Yeah,
like,
you're like,
"Oh, no,
yeah, I'm fine. I'm
I'm
like,
fine."
thank you.
Yeah.
So it's just, it's in my system. I love it.
Yeah.
It's a big reward to see how many women leave these retreats feeling comforted, seen, heard, and they go away with so many ideas. And I
Mm,
think
the
this is what
ideas
happened.
generation. Yeah. Mhm.
You know, my dad's in the audience. My
I did
dad has been,
wonder. I was
I
like,
know,
Tony's here.
I
Tony's
know.
arrived. It's so
Honestly,
sweet. He's left you a little
talk
comment.
talk about having a super fan. I mean, I do encourage everybody that's
Oh.
starting a Substack to have their family, because I mean, sometimes you can just be yourself. And he's been there on some of the early retreats where he was my chauffeur. We used to have people fly in from, some lady came from Guernsey and she needed a lift to a very remote part of North Wales. And he was
Okay.
Carter, he was the chauffeur. So yeah, I mean, it's blood, sweat, and tears, but I mean,
Yeah.
it's it I wish I could be a guest on my retreats.
Yes.
That's how
Yeah.
much
I
I
used to feel
enjoy it.
like that as well. Like I would want to be a participant. And there's something for me in my own practice that is about co creation. So in the Sparkle calls, the members' calls, there will be that bit of co creation where I'll spark something for folks, hold the space, give them the prompts, but then I'll also be journaling as well, because I find that that really fuels my enthusiasm. But also it keeps me aligned with where people are at, because there's a range of different people. And what I've learned from everyone is there's a small percentage of them that feel like they've got permission. For the most part, people are like always asking, is it okay if I do this? Can I do
Mm,
this? Should I come to that? Is this for me? So, because people have always got those self searching questions, I'm trying to say it's your experience. It's your experience, your Substack, you're curating it. There's no blueprint here. Like people might try and tell you there's a blueprint. There's no blueprint for success on Substack. Like it's about you and your creative practice and that relationship between you and your creative practice and you and your readers. And then if you have pays turned on, then obviously your paid subscribers as well. And it's very nuanced in how that can feel, I think, as a curator and as a host on Substack, if we do the kind of interactive stuff. Slight aside, but I think it's important. And I think with the retreat, what I feel is that I want to say that if people have literally just opened a Substack account, they can come. If people are mastering what it is to plug Substack into their business and their content ecosystem, they can come. Because actually,
mm,
having colleagues at every step of the journey in the Sparkle membership has been totally wonderful. So it
mm,
wasn't like I set up and I was like, right, if you're a business owner, this is for you. If you're a beginner, this is for you. I'm like, you can all come to the calls, but these are some diverse resources that might help you. So trying to kind of get everybody what they need. And on the day, for me, it's about curating that Substack experience for themselves as a reader themselves, but then also hopefully as a publication owner. And then the next part, that visioning part, obviously we all need to do that. We all need to lean into what we want. We need to make those bold statements about what we want the platform to be. And it's beautiful reading. I've just done a couple of audits this morning for Diamond members. And it's so beautiful reading what people want, like we don't allow
mm.
ourselves to say, this is what I really want. It's seen as maybe like a bit too bold, or we might share it with a colleague. But when people tell me what they want the platform to be for them, I just feel so honored. I just think how awesome that I get to know that about them and their publication. It's just so nice.
Well, and also people don't know what they don't know, and this is a
Mm.
platform that's ever changing, isn't it?
Uh-huh,
So
yeah.
as much as we've been on here over 2 years now, it's still, gosh, something new and refreshing is going to happen. And how do we, work with that? And likewise, don't have to get involved in everything that Substack is
No,
actually putting up there, because
no.
sometimes you think, I can't keep up. Well, you're not meant to keep up.
Yeah,
You'll
yeah.
find your groove. And I think these are the things that, when there's a
Mm,
table of 15, 16 people that want to join the retreat, these
mm.
will come up in conversation.
That's the stuff. Yeah, yeah. Just being able to hold space in that. It's almost like a mini mind, isn't it? Like a mastermind of our own Substacks and the nuance of Substack and what's working for some people and how people are using certain pieces of the puzzle, I guess. And that can depend. I mean, I've seen a few things as well on notes recently, and I did want to speak to this a little bit. Somebody will make a bold statement. So I saw one that was like, please stop sending offer emails, right? So
Mm.
you guys will know, you can go into your subscriber dashboard, you can email your subscribers, which overrides smart notifications. You can send them a special offer for your Substack. You could do that for free subscribers if you just wanted to keep it for free subscribers, and paid members are obviously doing their thing. And somebody said that, and I was like, oh, and it was around Black Friday. But I know that if people didn't have that kind of congruent confidence in what they were doing with their own Substack strategy,
Mm.
they would read that and think, oh, yeah, no, I better not do that. And it's like, no, that's just one person that's frustrated and annoyed. But it's
Mm.
okay for you to do that, and you're safe to do that, because this is how we earn our income for lots of us. So if you need to send a special offer, if you need to send an email, it's great and fine, and you should be able to do that. And I think sometimes within that noisy marketplace, people are like, oh, well, I saw this on notes, and I shouldn't really be doing it, or there's an etiquette thing. And I'm like, well, I mean, that voice is loud and you've heard it, but it doesn't mean that you have to take it on. So I think in coming closer into like what we want for our own spaces, and going into January, well, I'll do some goal setting and some 5-year visioning I'm going to do as well, which I'm super excited about in the membership. It's really about just quieting that noise and going, people are going to have their opinions, lots of them, and that's fine and they're safe to have them, but I don't have to embody them or take them on. And I think the closer we can get to our authentic self and our authentic voice, especially on a platform like Substack, the better, really. We've had years of trying to navigate and understand social media with algorithms blocking everything that we've wanted to do, unless we've been lucky and gone viral. But on Substack, it's different to that. We can just cozy up with our subscribers and go on a journey with them. So I do love that. And I did want to just speak to those voices that can get louder and louder as a platform gets busier and busier. It's just been, yeah, it's been quite
Well,
pertinent.
I think of it like Substack's becoming like this motorway.
Oh, yeah. Hmm.
You've got the big lorries with their big honking horns, going, get out the way, and you're in a little two-seater car, whatever. And what happens? You'll take a road off, you'll go down this gorgeous country lane, and you'll arrive in a little lovely village. And that's where your people are.
I
So it's
love
like there's
that.
so much traffic that you can easily be overwhelmed by the
Mhm.
big, regular, big top names that are going their way, because that's their career, that's where they're going. But you just want to siphon off and have or a coastal drive, and you'll find a hamlet, and it's like,
I love
oh,
that.
I feel like I belong here. It's calm, and it's where we can have good conversation. It's not all about the big numbers either. um
Mhm, mhm,
so
mhm,
so I
and it's
think
not about
this
one
is
way of doing things, is it? That's the thing.
mm,
When Tanya was saying that, I imagine she was driving the motorbike and I was in the sidecar. That's what came into my head. Can we do that? Can we make that happen?
yeah, we
Yeah,
can.
I'd love that.
Yeah,
Do you
it's like the
drive a
hairy.
motorbike?
No, it's like, was that the hairy bikers? Is that what they
Yeah,
used to do there
yeah.
still?
I
I
think as
mean,
well, because you'll see this as well being in Wales, but I see a lot of people that are out for the joy of driving, and it
mm,
gives me a lot of creative inspiration. So people will have like beautiful vintage cars, convertible or whatever they'll be doing, and
mm,
they'll just be like rattling around, having a slow drive along the coast. That is the purpose, that
mm,
is the joy.
mm,
And there's lots in that, isn't there? There's lots that we can
mm.
remember in that we get the gift of creating that for ourselves. What kind of car do you want to get inside, guys? Yeah,
Yeah,
I love that.
yeah. No,
So nice.
I'm loving the chat as well.
I
I
know
know
people are saying, can we
yeah.
tell them a bit more about the retreat in terms of dates and where it is and stuff like that? So we definitely can, can't we? So it's in
Mm,
Oxfordshire. It's
mm.
the 9th of May, 2025. Is that right?
It's a
And
Friday.
on Friday. And on your website, you have all of your 2025 retreats listed in terms of
Yeah.
who's going to be there and the ones that you've got confirmed and stuff. So people can go there and read through the list because, I'm hopeful that people want to book for mine. But I mean, there's just such an amazing list of people that you can come and retreat with. Go to them all. And we have a special offer until the 31st of December where you can get the early bird price. We also have a bursary spot. So if anybody isn't in a position to be able to pay for the retreat, you can apply for the bursary spot. And I know Tanya normally gets a handful of those, but it is only a handful. So you've got every chance of being able to have that bursary place. And obviously you'd be treated the same way that everybody would be, like it's one participant group. So early bird, remind me of the price till the 31st of December, isn't it?
Yeah, it's £375 on an
Yeah.
early bird, and
Yeah.
then yeah, it goes up after December.
Yeah.
But yeah, the bursary is quite straightforward. You literally email me at hello@easeretreats.com with the reason why you think you deserve the bursary place, and then I'll be forwarding those to Claire. We'll review it and we'll announce the winner. And honestly, those that have come on retreats before and won the bursary, it it's just magical. They're and
Mm-hmm.
and it's it could be a variety of reasons why you can't afford it, and I'm always looking for options where I could maybe get funding to support
Yeah.
those fortunate than
Yeah.
ourselves.
Or a
It's really
sponsored
yeah,
place or something, maybe. There's something in that, isn't there?
yeah.
Yeah, and I think that, it's one of those, and I don't know, I'm going to just say it out loud, but I offer pay it forward spots, so free
Mm,
spots on everything that I do apart from one-to-one work. So it's part of my business model. So if anybody wanted to be on one of my courses live or have the course pre-recorded or be in the membership for a year, like that is all possible. Like I work like
mm,
that because I used to be the one asking for those spots. And the
yeah.
first one, I'll tell this story because it is actually just resonant this week, because the first bursary place that I asked for, well, I'm from the funded sector, so all of our work we ask for money for and have done. So we've always had to apply for funding to make projects happen, and that's the way it's always worked. And there was a contract that I had that went sour that I decided to walk away from just before Christmas, like it wasn't long before Christmas. And it was a really difficult thing to do. Yeah, I mean, it was just massive. It meant financially, it meant like we were going to be crushed for a while. It meant that because I live rurally, I was really kind of making a decision that could be a bit icky in the future, but I just had to do it for myself and because of the way I'd been treated there. So I did that. We'd already booked a little retreat. Actually, we'd gone to the woods for a few days with my father-in-law, who was still alive at the time, and I took a journal and pen and I just started sort of journaling around what I wanted to do. So I think it was like 2017. I didn't have any sort of online business at that point. And then I signed up for Susanna Conway's Unravel Your Year workbook, which is always free every year. And I downloaded that workbook, worked through it, and then shortly after that, I think, if I'm remembering the timelines right, there was an opportunity to do a course called Journal Your Life.
Mm,
And it sounded like a beautiful course, but very deep. And I was like, but I sort of need this because I feel if I don't do this work now, when am I going to do it? So I emailed Susanna because she'd said this. She said there was bursary places available, and I said I couldn't afford to pay for the course. I can't even remember how much it was, but like we were like literally worried about how much groceries were costing, like filling the oil tank up because we have oil central heating here. Like it was really hard. And she just straight away was like, "Yes, I'll put you in." So I diligently worked through that course, and I was so grateful for that experience. And then Susanna and I have connected again recently through Substack because she's one of my diamond members. So it just blows my mind.
mm,
One act of generosity towards somebody in a position that needs to kind of go, actually, yes, like if you're making that offer, like I need that. And I value myself enough to say, yes, please. I just love it. And when I get the emails, I'm like, of course. And usually there's a big story to go with them. I'm like, of course. Like it doesn't,
mm,
it doesn't matter like why you need to ask. You've asked, and like I've got something that I can support you with. So yeah, I just think it's a magical thing to offer. And I know that obviously it's part of your strategy to do that,
mm.
but I did want to just note that that is a beautiful, beautiful thing to do, Tanya. You need to make money as well, like you're a business as well, and so you've made that work for you, and I love that.
Well, thank you. But I mean, I'd host them for free if I could. And
Yeah,
that's one of
yeah,
it's one of my
yeah.
dreams is that, maybe I'll fall lucky, there'll be an investor, I'll get a retreat, and I can just create this sanctuary, this place where people can come and just be. And it's
Mm,
but in the meantime, I'm if I'm not hosting live events with creatives like you, I do run online workshops, and I have this um regular weekly club called Journal with Ease, and you can join it to trial it to see if it's for you. And it's just a gentle guided journaling, 45 minutes via Zoom. And yeah, it's just I think it's we've just got to give back. I think
yeah.
a bit more in this society. And yeah, so I'm looking forward to it. It'll be here before we know it. I mean, I suppose just before we go, that there are, if you're thinking, I don't know what I want for Christmas, I do produce Ease Retreats vouchers. So if you want to,
Oh,
if
nice.
there's
Yeah,
someone
yeah.
thinking, oh my gosh, would you, rather than pair of socks as usual, an Ease Retreats voucher might be something that
And
you
so
could put on
someone
your
could
list.
maybe like buy like a £50 voucher, say,
Yeah,
and then they would put that towards one of the day retreats or weekend retreats that you've
yeah,
got in 2025, and then obviously top up the money. That's really
yeah.
lovely. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, I love that. Well, yeah, I mean, I can't wait either, Tanya. I think it's going to be such a beautiful thing to do, and I know the spots will start to fill up. So we've had a few inquiries, and I think we've got 2 bookings already. Like, I like to be transparent about this stuff because I
Mm,
think people are always like, "Oh, it's sold out," or "There's one spot
no,
left," and all that stuff. It's hard, isn't it? Like,
mm,
actually behind the scenes. Some days, I don't make sales. Some weeks I don't make sales, but then other weeks and other days, just it goes bananas. So it's real life. Like, we're running real businesses, and these spots are here. They're open. We're
mm,
doing this to promo it, and I'll save this video so folks can watch it again. But if you do have questions, obviously Tanya's there on email. We've chatted a bit about the content, so if you want to ask me what my plans are and how it differs to the other stuff that I offer. I mean, I don't offer any in-person Substack stuff, and I don't offer one-to-ones anymore, only through referral. So I'm currently only working with business owners who want to come to Substack and like arrive to Substack on their launch strategy. So I don't actually work in person or one to one with anyone, just my courses and then the membership. So for me, it feels like a really nice thing to be able to do that, to be able to sit in a
mm,
group together. Because I would love to do that loads, of course I would. But what I've realized is in managing volume of people that have a lot of questions, I've got to direct them. I
mm,
sometimes feel like, one of those airport controllers that's like directing the planes in and things. I'm like, okay, like beginners can come in here and I've got this resource and this video. And then if you're really interested in spending time with aesthetic, you can do the beautiful magazine course. So yeah, I've had to create so much within my office suite, and I feel like that's been the real focus of this year. But I've
mm,
done it now; it's done. I've got like a
mm,
complete office suite with how to help everybody that's been coming to me in terms of like that client avatar on Substack. So I'm so chuffed with that. Yeah. So if you feel called, I'd say check out the details. Obviously, when we share the replay, we'll share the links and stuff so you can check out the details. Do you have any questions for Tanya or I before we go? See if anybody does. People just being very kind.
More and more digital on this retreat. Yeah, so everything's on the website, and between our Substacks as well, we're normally writing about everything. So yeah, the itinerary's there.
People can get the train close by
Mm.
and then kind of car share and stuff, can't they, to come across to the venue because it's quite rural. But all of that will work okay. Because it's Oxfordshire, what would be your nearest airport? Would it be Birmingham or would it be more south, like Londony?
Well,
What's your
London for quite a few
links?
people, and then they go from London to Oxford or Swindon for
Yeah.
trains.
Okay.
So yeah, I've yeah, I've had people from all over. We did one in Brecon, and we had a guest in from Massachusetts and another guest in from Canada. And I was like, oh my gosh, they're coming to, the back of the hills in Wales. But we made it happen. It
Mm-hmm.
just, and people love to car share, and it's lovely to have a fellow guest in the car before because you make friends and then it's not
Yeah.
so nerve-wracking. So, yeah,
Yeah,
there
that
is,
sounds really nice.
there's whatever they need support with accommodation, transport, anything, just ask and I'll do my best to help.
Hmm. Gorgeous. Okay, so if you go on Tanya's website or find her on Substack, obviously through this link, then you'll be able to find all the details. Do let me know if you come in because I'd love to stalk your Substack and have a good look at it before we meet. Like I said, I want to tailor the experience to the people in the room. So if you feel called, if you think it might be for you, if you want to have a chat with me about the content, I'm here. If you want to have a chat with Tanya about logistics, then she's here. So yeah, or somebody's just saying how many days are the retreat. So you do different things, don't you? Ours is a day retreat, but actually you will retreat as a participant for longer than the day because you'll do overnight accommodation and stuff. But you do weekends sometimes, don't you?
Yeah, I've got we do them Friday to Sunday, and sometimes they're just two with one night. So I've got one coming up in June, which is a rest and read retreat with Lucy
Mm.
from the literary edit on Substack. So yeah, that's
Yeah.
all about giving you permission to read. So that's a
I love
2-day
that. I
event.
love
But yeah.
that's really
Mm.
a really nice thing, because we all have the best intentions, don't we? And then the phones obviously just like cry for our attention all the time, and then before we know it, another week's gone by. But yeah, I am enjoying a book at the moment. I picked it up again yesterday
Mm.
when I was in a bit of a funk, so that was really nice to do. It's Rebecca Campbell's new book, so yeah, it is nice this time of year to be like, I'm going to give myself permission to go back through the bookshelf and see what is there that I'd
Mhm.
like to read. And I should mention before I go for the new
Yes.
people that joined, this is out. It was out yesterday and we are charting on Amazon. So if you'd like to get your copy, Amazon UK, it seems like only Kindle is available at the minute, but I'm sure that'll be fixed through our distributor at some point. But How to Build a World Class Substack. And the important thing is build a sustainable and thriving publication without burning out. That's the important thing. It's by me and Russell Nolte, and yeah, we're absolutely delighted to have created this book. As I was saying, in terms of trying to create an offer suite, this is it really, being able to have an actual book of Substack and what there is to do on your publication has just been a dream come true this year. And I didn't know I was doing it at the start of the year. So although we can hold the visions and have the goals, sometimes things sweep us sideways and we just crack on, don't we? And go, yeah, that's a good idea. Let's make it happen.
It's brilliant. Great Christmas present as well. So
Oh, yeah, good point.
yeah,
Thanks, Ted. Yeah.
do what we are.
Lovely.
Oh,
Okay, well, thanks so much for coming on with me, Tanya. And like I said, I'll share the replay for anybody that wants to rewatch or send it to anybody else as well. Thanks, guys. See you
thank
soon.
you.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.